Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining in. I am excited to kicking off your Expat Life Live 2026, our first session of the year. In our live that just happened a couple minutes ago, I was saying that I started doing these lives because, as an expat, talking to other people that want to, leave the country, leave America to just, or where they are originally from, they're hesitant to do it. And so I was like, well, let's talk to other people that have done it and see why they did it and what made them want to move. And, it's that whole thing of you don't know what you don't know. And yeah, so I wanted to share other people's journeys, other people's new life abroad. And that's why I started writing about your expat life, then started doing the interviews and talking to people. And I've met a bunch of interesting people last year. Um, Ireland, Mexico, a ton of people are in Portugal, Spain, Italy, and now south of France. So I'm very excited to speak with you, Karen, today.
It's so good to be here, and it's so good to kick off the beginning of the year like this.
Yes. The chats are fun, very fun. So for those of you that are joining us, let us know where I see someone. Hello from Cali. Let us know where you're joining in from. If you are already an expat, if you are looking to start the expat journey, where are you thinking of moving to? And conversation wise. So just drop questions in the chat as we go through this, and we're here to support you as well. So, Karen, you are in the south of France. What made you go there?
Yeah, the south of France. Well, and I wanna say, first of all, that we're in a part of the south of France that I think, the south of France is sort of popular and, people think about the Riviera and the Côte
Yeah.
d'Azur and Cannes and all that. So, if you think about your geography, France actually kind of has a thick neck that is right then hits Spain, right?
Mm,
So it's not just a square. And so we are in a place called Collioure. It is where the Pyrenees Mountains come down to the Mediterranean Sea. It's
mm.
about 10 miles north of the Spanish border. So it's like when I say the south of France, it is
The
seriously
very
the
south.
south of France. Um, so it's yeah, so that's where it is. There's 4 villages and then we're in Spain. And in fact, on really rainy days, a lot of times people go to Spain. Like we go to Spain a lot because right there. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um yeah, so we originally from both of us are originally from California, but spent 20 years plus in Portland, Oregon, before we moved here in 2019. Uh, and it was a place that I had been to France, multiple times, to Paris and to Nice and to all the, Bordeaux places
Yeah.
that are sort of more popular. And I had a writing student who was a huge Francophile, and she had discovered this village called Collioure. I mean, it's tiny. Like our population is like 2,600 people. We have no stoplights.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Ooh.
it's little. It grows in the summer, but it's small. Anyway, she invited us here for a week to stay with her, and, I'm sure this happens in many places, I know in France, but it was a coup de foudre. It was a coup de cœur. We fell in love, like,
Wow.
immediately. Um but we didn't move immediately, which I think is important for expat people thinking of leaving. Like, we kept coming back sort of year after year.
Hmm.
We met some people, some French people. And then in 2018, so that was 2010, 2018, our daughter got married, and, like, we love her husband, and quite literally the day after the wedding, we said, "If we wanna move to France, we have to go now because
Now's the
where
time.
there's grandchildren."
I've
So,
married her off and I'm leaving the country.
it is yes, that is exactly what happened. Um, so we moved in May of 2019. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I feel like a lot of people I've spoken to, I love the fact that you went there and you visited and then you visited and then you moved. A lot of people, me included, this has happened, have moved to places that I have never visited. or let alone never even thought of, oh, I want to live there. Like that's a place I've always been thinking about. So
Yeah.
I lived in Copenhagen, Denmark, not a place that I wanted to visit before, but my husband got a job there. He's British. And for him, he wanted to live and work abroad. He had never lived outside of England. And Copenhagen was like a 2-hour flight. And so I was like, oh, that's that technically is
Yeah.
abroad because it's outside. But we can get from California 2 hours is like what?
You're
Where would we
still in
get?
California.
Exactly. You wouldn't really get that far. You're still in California. So I was like, okay. But it was an amazing city. I had my second daughter there and it was just a lovely city to live in. But again, it's not a city that we did a scouting trip and we saw like a ton of apartments and a ton of schools. And then we said, yes, we'll move just after 2 days.
How long did you live there?
We ended up living there for 4 years.
Well, that's yeah. And would you move back there? Like, if you could wave a magic wand and just change your life, would you go back or
I think I would. It was nice. I loved it, but I feel like it was perfect for the time of life. My kids were really young. And I think it was best then because it was a walking city, very
Mm.
easy for the kids. During COVID, school was only closed for 1 month, like because the Danes listened. They had so many rules. It was best place to be, in my opinion, for COVID.
That's great.
Um, so yeah, I would
Yeah,
go back.
yeah, a very cool city. Yeah, I think the thing is too that's so interesting, I see on Substack and on, all around on socials and people will say like, "Oh, I wanna move to France or wherever, and I'm looking at Brittany and I'm looking at, Antibes, and I'm looking at" and it's like, if you don't like the rain where you live now, you're not gonna like it with a French accent in Normandy. Like, it's like some of the just very simple things about moving, like, um, yeah, do you like the weather? Do you mind it when it gets hot?
Hmm.
Um, your everyday kind of things. Like, do you have to have, a shop that you can run down to at the last minute and buy a cute top?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
that wouldn't be full year this time of year because it's very sleepy right now because it's not the high season, but, like, all
Yeah.
these just things aside from you're in this new country and there's another language and there's another bureaucracy and government stuff, but just, like, your everyday life, it's so important that especially, like I said, the weather feels boring, but if you don't like mountains, you're not gonna like mountains in a foreign
Yeah.
country,
It's
you
not gonna
know?
make it better.
It's
Yeah.
not if you don't like it, should, but
I mean, that's a great point because for us in the Middle East, summertime, everyone leaves because it is like 120 degrees outside.
so it must be lovely there right now. Is it
It's
lovely?
amazing. This is winter, and the high today was 73. It's
Oh,
60 degrees right now. I just came in before this. I went for a walk, and it's like everyone's outside at night. I mean, even in summer, people are outside at nighttime, but that's because the sun is down and it's a bit cooler. But in winter, there's so many things to do. And like winter is, I have on a sweater and you don't have to wear heavy jackets. But so this time right now, it's amazing. It's beautiful. A lot of people aren't swimming because technically it's cold. But
bro.
in the summer, in the summer, it's the complete opposite. There's like the water is like a bath.
Mhm, yeah, I imagine.
So to your point, it's like you have to figure out what you really want most from the city or the place that you're moving to. For us in the summer, me and the kids, well, we do a family trip, and then my husband has to come back to work, and then I leave with the kids because they refuse to go outside. They say it's boiling, it's boiling outside. I'm not going out there. But
Well,
there's
it
a
is
ton.
boiling. I mean, in the summer, it is boiling out there.
Yeah, but there's a ton of things for uh you to do everywhere. Like some of the sidewalks are air conditioned. There's always things to do in the
Wow.
mall. So it's like it's equipped
Yeah,
for it, but it's still really, really hot. Like you're still gonna sweat. Um, where you are, like what is one of the biggest cultural shocks that you probably have experienced since you've moved? So you've been there about 6 years now.
yeah. Um, Well, it's interesting because I thought I studied French in high school and some in college, and I had been to Paris, and I had been to France maybe like, I don't know, 8 or 10 times. Like, I'd been here, and I
Yeah.
was an English major in college, and my specialty was sort of the lost generation, and so, I already was a Francophile. So I thought I knew. I thought I knew. So, there's funny little things, but something that, and I think Americans really romanticize this, but a long French meal is
Oh.
long. And oftentimes it's a Sunday meal, which is very lovely. That it's lovely, but you basically are having lunch Sunday. That like noon to like maybe 4:30, and that's your day. And in the
Yeah.
time, we have a lot of friends who have second homes here, and you people will go from lunch, they'll take a little nap. Maybe I swim all the time. I'll swim. My husband will play pétanque, which is sort of boules. It's like one of those bowling games, and then it'll be
Yeah.
dinner until 11 o'clock.
Oh,
So it's spend your whole day eating. Now, you're not eating, but you are sitting at the table,
yeah, yeah.
drinking and eating, and I thought I was prepared, and
I
it's really a long time.
that's a very long time. I feel like it's like a Thanksgiving, like Christmas big meal every Sunday. I think it's like,
Yeah.
so in England, my husband, like I said, he's British. In England, they do Sunday roast.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not necessarily 4 hours, but it might be like a 2 hour thing. And it's like socializing. I find a lot of, I guess it might be a lot of European countries. It's a big social experience.
It
But four,
is.
four
And,
hours is a very long dinner.
if we're speaking French, it's like being in grad school a little bit, like in your graduate speaking seminar, because you're there, but the one thing that I find is really interesting, now we've made some pretty dear French friends, and, um, the French and I think it's because in France, you're kind of allowed to be overtly grumpy or a
Mm.
little combative or, I don't agree with you. Like, there's more aspects of your personality that are allowed to
Yeah.
sort of manifest for men and women, but
Mhm.
for right? We don't have to be smiley all the time. Um, and so when you go to these social events, in the United States, or maybe this is just me, or maybe this is just me growing up on the West Coast, it's assumed that you're gonna come and you're gonna kind of put on your social face and you're gonna be pleasant. And if anything is bothering you, you're gonna hide it. You're not gonna, but
Mm.
because we sit at meals so often, you basically come as you are.
Yeah.
And if you're in a bad mood, then you're just like, "Bring me more wine, I'm in a bad mood," and everyone else just gets subjected to it.
It's like,
And that's
come as
kind of
you are.
it's kind of come as you are. It's like,
Yeah.
and you're sitting there long enough that your mood actually changes because you're there so long, right? So I
Yeah.
think that was like, if I had to do one thing, it would be
Yeah.
I thought I knew. I thought I knew, and, and, like, you see movies, and they're sitting at a tree under or a table under a tree, and everyone's lounging in their frocks, and you think, "This is great." Well, they've been there for hours and hours and hours.
And they're coming back after their nap.
After their nap, their little petit sieste, and then it's time for apéritif, and then the dinner
Hmm.
starts. Mhm. So that
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
mine. Now, we've talked about this a lot because the French also love to talk about their culture. Like, you can say, "I'm sitting here a long time," and they'll be like, "Yes," and then we'll talk about it for an hour. Um, I think probably in the South where we are, it's more so because, in Paris, which is a world-class city, people have to go to work and
Yeah.
even, I mean, even on Sundays, like, they can't just get day drink all the time because they have, jobs to do and driving and stuff. But down here, it can go on quite a long
Yes.
time.
Did you feel, well, you said you studied French, but do you feel where you live? like if someone were to move there, they would have to speak the language, or would they be able to get by with English?
Well, probably not down I mean, I would say it would be a tough where we live,
Yeah.
because I mean, there are people who speak English, but it's not assumed. There's not a lot of people who speak English. We are actually the part of France we're in is French Catalonia, so there's a lot of Catalan speakers here. Um, the thing is, and I would love to, I love to talk to people who live in other countries and speak other languages because for me, it's really feels like French is France. Like,
Mm,
so much of their culture lives in their language, so if you don't know it but I'm not fluent by any stretch of the imagination, but that's where a lot of the culture lives, so, I mean, I don't know, does Spain live in Spanish? Maybe it's always like does Germany live in German? Like, maybe it's always like that, because English has, like, just it's just like an international
it's
language of communication, I don't think the United States lives in the language.
no. I feel like it felt that way to me in Denmark. I wasn't didn't really speak Danish. My kids went to a Danish school, and so they'll come home and drop some words, and I say, "Oh, I know what that means." But I feel they were very probably the same. I think a lot of it was in their like the culture was in their language.
Yeah. So, I think, I mean, there are people, especially there aren't very many Americans here. Most of the Anglophones are British. Um, but I think if for any length of time, it kind of behooves you yeah, to learn it or to
Yeah.
it's not an easy language. But yeah,
Emily says for Spain, yes, very much so. That the culture is in the language.
is in the language, right? So it's not just, oh yeah, you have to know it because you have to go to the doctor or you have to go to the bank. Like where the people are living is in where the
Is
yeah.
yeah, and it's the same here in Arabic. Like uh, I think a lot of the culture comes in the language as well. It's just like a lot of people say different words, and it's like, and it's just even they can be speaking English and they'll drop in an Arabic word, and it's like, oh, I know what that means, but it's not. I kind of feel weird saying it because I can't follow it up with another Arabic
Well,
word.
that's right. You say and they're like, "Oh, you speak Arabic," and then it's blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, no, no, stop. That's as far as I go. Yeah. So yeah, I never
Yeah,
thought of it that way, but I do think you're right. I think in a lot of the countries where that language is heavily, you know, used or where it came from is
yeah,
part of the culture as well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and people like it's hard. I mean, Arab, it's all hard, and I feel like I don't think I have like a overwhelming gift for languages, but you just have to kind of keep at it, and
yeah,
be prepared to just feel embarrassed every single day because you don't know what's going on. The first year we lived here, we had no I like we just would wake up and just be those people who had no idea what was going on. And we've been here like 8 times before.
yeah.
Like and we still would be like, "Oh, yeah." Like, we didn't
It takes a while to actually settle in and feel like you are like, at least for me, I'm in my second year, so we moved August 2024. So we're in our second year. But I now feel like settled. Like I have my routine in terms of my day, and like I feel comfortable, you know, just driving places with the kids and going. Like I can know where things are. Like when people come to visit, I can say, "Oh, we can go do this and we can go do that." I didn't feel comfortable doing that the first year.
Yeah, well, there's a French phrase, "Petit à petit l'oiseau fait son nid," which is little by little the bird makes his nest, and that's like little by little. It's petit à petit. It's just little by little by little by little.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, but some of the things that we thought we were doing right, like, oh, here's something, and I'm wondering if this is true in other countries. As Americans, and especially as a person from the West Coast, we like will hit it off with somebody, and it'll be like, "Oh, um, let's have coffee," or "We should do the thing," and we're just speaking aloud and conveying our enthusiasm for vibing, right? We're not
yeah.
like making a date. But if you say that to a French person, you are making a date. Like, you're not just so several times we've been like, "Hey, lunch. Yeah, lunch. What Tuesday? Oh, sure." And but we're not making a date because that requires a follow-up, right? We're just talking. And so they've been like, "Okay, we're ready for lunch." It's like, "What?" Because we've completely forgotten. We completely forgot. We were just like, "Cool, let's go skiing." And they're, like, out waxing their skis, like, they don't if you're gonna so we had to it took me a couple years to just, like, shut up, like, because
It has to be
that's
in the calendar.
yeah, that's how we express our enthusiasm, was just like, "Oh, we should do this again." It's like, "What?
Yeah.
Not really, then I'll cancel, then you'll cancel, then I'll cancel." You know how it works. But they don't you can't, you have to
Yeah, well, if you say a date and the thing you're gonna do, it's gotta happen. Rebecca says it's a very different experience in a foreign country when you intend to or can speak the language. That was her experience in Spain. And I do agree. I feel like I tried. It's like in Denmark, I feel like Arabic is just gonna be so hard. Like I'll
oh,
doing it on Duolingo, and I'm like,
uh,
because it's not even really letters. It's like, well, yeah.
I
But
can't imagine.
there's this company called Story Learning where he teaches you, or well, the company teaches you to speak different languages through stories. So I was like, oh, that might take that a try.
Cool.
Yeah, might give that a try. But yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of people that I've spoken to that move to new countries and actually speak the language, they have a very different experience than people that don't even try. Like when I
Yeah.
tried, I even felt like you can
Well, and,
connect with
you just
people.
have to be humiliated, like, do you have the
Yeah.
appetite or the stamina to just be I mean, we learned very quickly how to say, "We are smart in English," because, in French, we, like, talk like four-year-olds. Not
Yeah.
quite, but and the other thing that really, French may be difficult, but English has a lot of French words. Like, English
Mhm.
let us not forget, if we ever knew, that in England, they spoke French for 400 years. So,
Mm.
we have all of our long words like information, those words all
Information.
come from
Yeah.
French. So we're halfway there. In fact, we have a really good friend who says, "Just put a French accent on it, and there's a 50% chance you'll win, you'll win." So
That's a shortcut.
I can't imagine learning Danish or, something like because French is already we already have a lot of French words in English.
Yeah, you're familiar with it. So in terms of like housing, when you first went to South of France, did you rent a place, buy, like what was that? Like I spoke to someone in Ireland where she just went straight and bought a place. And I feel we were in England for 3.5 years and then we left, but we for me, I was like, oh, well, where do we want to live and what do we want to buy? And we ended up renting for 3.5 years because we just couldn't figure out where we wanted to be. So, how did you settle in with housing where you are?
Well, and this is also kind of the advantage of sort of having come back here, every year is that we met a friend, a woman who owns a boutique here who's is a French woman who's married to an American and speaks English. And when we decided we were moving, we contacted her and said, "Do you know any place that we could rent?" And she did. So, we came here, we thought we're gonna, like, rent for a year or so. But it's a bit tricky because Collioure it's a village that relies on tourism, and so
Mm.
a lot of people, like a lot of places in the world, I mean, Spain, Barcelona for sure, we go to Barcelona a lot because we're close to that, like, Airbnb is taking over the world.
Yep.
So people can have an Airbnb, they make a lot of money between May and the end of September around here, so they don't wanna rent to you for the whole year. So because we knew someone who knew someone, we used it's a little pistonné, right? It's what they call it's like having connections. So
Hmm.
that's another thing that's a benefit about if you think there's somewhere you wanna go, is to just go there. Just go there and be there. Um,
Yeah.
I really think it's courageous for people who just say who look at a place on the map and go, Lisbon, packing my wheelie bag, and I think that's enormously courageous.
It
Um,
is.
so um, we rented for a year, and then we did find some place. It just sort of we lucked out a place on a street that we wanted to live. However, COVID hit, and we were here for COVID.
Oh,
Uh, and
yay.
I think that's also part of the reason why we were able to make some dear friends is because a lot of other people who expats or people who were on the way to becoming expats, like they were here on a year visa or something, they
Mm,
went back to the States. But we did not go back because we had sold everything. Like we had got rid of, we had there was nowhere to go back to. So, so we were all here together. And it was
yeah.
actually not a bad place. Like I said, we have a beautiful beach. The mountains are this way, the beach is that way. Um,
Oh, wow.
it's absolutely beautiful place. And you could go outside and partake of the natural beauty. You weren't stuck in an
Yeah.
apartment the size of a closet. So yeah, we did
Uh,
buy it, and then we had a horrible um experience remodeling it, which I think is a global experience of.
Especially if you bought like after COVID and things started opening up and delays and yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is I mean, here's the other thing. I have always lived in cities, and now I'm like in a tiny town where everybody like knows all your business. Like, you'll be
Yes.
walking down the street, they'll be like, "Oh, how was your eye surgery?" Like, they just somehow know everything because people gossip a lot, right?
They know
Yeah,
everything.
they know everything. And the French here's the other thing that I kind of love about the French. Um, they like, if you put it out there, they gossip they are robust gossipers, and they don't feel guilty the way, like, Americans feel guilty. Like, they just know we all talk about one another.
It's like they're looking at you walk down the road and say, "Oh yeah, I know what she's doing."
Well, I mean,
That's
like
funny.
I said, we feel guilty when we do it, but they
Yeah.
don't. I mean, so maybe that's more honest.
Yeah, yeah. Outside of your visits, like, so when you came back and visit and when you finally settled in, like, how or what did you do to kind of get your community and get friends in the area? Because that's one of the things that people struggle with or have a fear of. It's like they're gonna move to this country, move to this new place, and they're not gonna make friends. They're gonna be there completely alone.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something to really think about. Um, it's good to think about how natively sort of outgoing you are as a person, right? Like I said, we knew Valerie. The other thing is we had started in 2017, I think we put together a writing retreat that we hold here in Collier called Come to Your Senses. And it's 3 times a year, sort of like this in 2026. It's at the end of April, June, and September. And so uh, and it's all inclusive. So like we like became friendly with the people at the hotel, and we would go to restaurants and we would say, if our students come there, could you give them a 10% like, so we were kind of doing outreach for a reason. So
Yeah.
that helped in a way. But the other thing is anything in the place where you live, most places, I think, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say this. In the part of Europe we live in, there are lots of community activity.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
people, especially in the south of France, play pétanque, as I told you, this
Yeah.
game, and anybody can join. Like, they have formal leagues and stuff, but, like, on our side of town, anybody can join. And a lot of people have made dear friends, they just show up to play pétanque. And my husband did that, and now he's, like, in the gang with all the other local, not visitors who play pétanque.
Yeah.
So So I think like being aware of where people, if there's something like that. Um, a lot of times, in France they have associations, which are like the clubs that you would have at
Hmm.
school, like the cinema club and restoring the lighthouse club and you can join any of those. And it's like
Yeah,
a yearly dues are like 15 euros,
that's good.
so and the thing is too about speaking French is that really if you're trying and you're indicating that you are, here, you want to learn and you want to be friendly and you want to make connections, they're very accommodating. They really are where we live.
That's good. Yeah, I find there's a lot of Facebook groups, meetups for a lot of different cities, and it's like I try to encourage people to join those first to get to
Yeah,
know and ask questions, what you should
exactly.
see, what you should do, where you should go, kind of thing, before you go visit someplace. So yeah,
No, that's exactly it. I mean, I think anything that you find online or anyone who's like willing to have coffee with you if they don't look like they're completely, scary. I think all of that, and
yeah,
to be patient.
hmm,
I also think probably, and I'm sure, the people who follow you, it pays to have an interior life because sometimes you are going to feel lonely, and so liking to read or paint or listen to music or knit or do your pot, like
yeah,
because it does take some time. It does take some time.
exactly. Yeah, it takes time to settle in, and then you find your hobbies, you find your rhythm, you find your flow of things, and then the friends will, I think, fall in to place with as you're going through your day and just like what you're getting involved in. And then
Right.
like just really finding things that you enjoy. I think for me, that was one of my things coming back here. It's like once I got my kids settled in, it's like, okay, now what do I want to do? Like what is there for me to do?
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Um, yeah, it's a big transition, and, they always say, like, if you wanna learn the language, you need to make friends among, people that speak the language, and that's absolutely true, but I also think realistically, if you first move someplace, anybody, another American, a Brit, anybody who, you know, you is good to be friendly with,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? I mean, you can get
Agreed.
stuck and people get stuck, but, but I just think it's such a big move, and it's so good to have somebody who, "Oh, I have a coffee today. I'm meeting so and so for a glass of wine today." Like, I just think that's
Yeah, and there's a ton of WhatsApp groups now as well out there too. Rebecca says, "Thank you for talking about associations. Good to know. In the bigger towns and cities, the AVFs sound like a good option also." And she provided a link here. Thank you for that. Uh,
yeah,
Ashley says, "We're great." Sorry.
oh, yay, thanks. Yeah, no, the association, like I said, and in fact, in September, in every place, they have, like, a big fair where they all have little
Mm,
tables with their brochures, and at first I was like, "This is a little corny. This is kind of hokey," but it's how the French do it.
mhm.
Um, and in fact, I'm part of the cinema there's a cinema association here, and I help them do the foreign language bookings, meaning English, 'cause
Yeah,
we're the foreign language
you're the
now.
foreign language. Yes.
So, um, yeah, and we also have a teeny museum. One of the things about Collier that is so lovely is that, in 1905, the painter, Henri Matisse came here. He was 36 years old. He thought his life was over. There were younger painters coming up. He was living in Paris, he was very depressed, he was painting these paintings like hotel motel art, it was like landscapes that, like, bankers would put over their sofas. He was very unhappy, and his wife, Amelie, was from Toulouse, which is down here, and she said, "I know the perfect place for us to go in the summer, and you can paint, and it's sunny, and the light
Oh
is
wow.
exquisite, and it will cheer you up." And he asked all of the painters in Paris to come, and nobody went except for one, other painter, André Derain, and this is where Matisse discovered the palette that we know him for.
Wow.
Yeah, this
That's
is where
amazing.
all those wild colors. In fact, there's a painting of our street that he has that's in Museum of Modern Art. Um, this is where it all happened
Wow.
because so we have this history of, and like I said, the light here is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Because there's the ocean on one side and the mountains on the other, like
Yes, and
right in the
also
middle.
and the other thing that happens is when there's a big south wind, we get sand from the Sahara,
Oh,
and there's particulate matter in the air, and all the light's bouncing from between the seas and the mountains, and it's bouncing off this particulate. It's just, yeah, it's crazy.
oh wow, that sounds
Crazy.
beautiful. Oh my goodness. Rebecca wants to know, how do you find out about associations that are in your town? Is that something you would Google, or how would you find that out?
Um, that's a great question. In our neck of the woods, there's like a little kind of local magazine, and I
Mm,
think probably you could even you could go on, social media. I mean, like Facebook is used a lot. I mean, as much as Facebook is for like our grannies, and I am a granny, like my granny, um, they use it a lot just to communicate with each other around here.
mhm.
Like literally, like if someone loses their sunglasses, they'll be like, "I found these on the beach," and it'll be on Facebook.
Oh,
Like Facebook used to be. Anyway,
yeah,
um, my
yeah. That was
my point is like you can like look up, like if you're in Bordeaux associations, and it will lead you to the proper information. I think just
right.
Google and going on Facebook because, like I said, the French use it for a lot of like organizational communication. A lot of them
Yeah.
have book pages instead of websites. Like they don't even
Mhm.
bother with that
Yeah.
nonsense. So,
Eh, a
I think
small
that, yeah,
village
I mean, they just,
family.
yeah. So, but I do think if you just look on social media, um, and you'll find your way to um, the big
Yeah.
associations for sure in your village
Yes.
or in your
Rebecca, let
town.
us know if you have any other questions about that. So one last question before we talk about your Substack, but and I think I know the answer to this. How would you compare finances in California to South France where you are now?
Finances.
Yeah. So, because that's
Well,
one of the other blockers for people, right? A lot of
mhm.
people think I can't afford to move abroad.
No, you can totally afford to move abroad. I mean, I don't know, maybe not to Switzerland. Switzerland's there,
It
but
depends on where you are exactly.
Iceland,
That's a
which
little
a lot of
research.
my friends like adore Iceland, and it's great, but it's an island and it's expensive. Um, there's a saying, I wish I made it up. I didn't, but I can't say who made it up. That in France, and I think this is true for most of Europe, probably well, except for Switzerland, they're not in the EU, I guess. Necessities are inexpensive and luxuries are expensive.
Hmm.
And by luxuries, I even mean like if you want something like a dimmer switch on your light in the dining room, like stuff it's expensive to get something like that because they don't have it. They just turn the light on and off. But if you want,
Yeah.
in the United States, necessities are expensive and luxuries are inexpensive. So, to come to France, for example, a baguette will always be a euro. Wine, bread, and and staples are always going to be inexpensive. You can always
Hmm.
make a meal, always. Obviously, you're on the healthcare system. Um, Electricity, it's it's less expensive, but I think the French complain wildly that it's expensive. But really, if you're not going to live a big fancy life,
Yeah.
it is quite affordable. It's quite affordable.
It's the simple life. Exactly. I mean, I forget who I was speaking to, and it's like, take Portugal for example. If you want to live in the city, you want to live in Lisbon, you're going to pay to live in Lisbon because it's the city, versus living somewhere in one of the smaller, you know, what we would call suburbs, out in the suburbs, away from the city, where it'd be much more cost effective, you know, cheaper to live than it would be living in a city, right? So it
Right.
depends on what you actually want. But I like to always say to people, like, you have to look and weigh, like how we started this, like, think about where you want to live and what you can deal with and can't deal with before you decide. And I always feel, compared to what people are spending and doing in America, you can totally afford to move abroad.
No, exactly, and, the other thing is, and I'm sure you felt this, is that, I mean, in the United States, you could break your wrist and go bankrupt.
Exactly.
And I'm not even talking about a bad diagnosis or a complicated chronic health issue. You just have one bad thing happen, and it could be catastrophic. And the feeling of living in a place where that's just not on, like, the anxiety of that is
Yeah.
just not in the air. It's just not in the air. Um, People are cared for,
Hmm.
you know? I will say, and I have friends like this, it's not the health system here, the practitioners are extremely competent and efficient. If you are someone who requires having a saltwater fish tank in the waiting room of your doctor's office, that is France is not for you, because it is not literally it is like everything is just, we are here to do medicine. We have nothing. We don't even have crappy magazines in the wait. We have nothing. Like, you are here,
Simple life.
you are here to get a shot or to get your eyeballs looked at or whatever, right? Now, the equipment they have that they use on the regular is extremely sophisticated.
Yeah.
But like I said, the bells and whistles, the kind of stuff that we expect in the United States, like, you know, that's you're not gonna get that. And some people like it. Some people wanna have, like, free samples in glass, bowls in the waiting room of hand lotion if you're at the
Oh,
dermatologist. Some people want that, but you're not gonna get
yeah.
that here.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's getting really, really clear on the life you want to live and how you want to live it
Yeah.
before you decide where you want to move to. So I want to hear more about the writing retreat. And I want to
Oh,
hear
really?
about, yeah, no, that's not happening. Your
Yeah, no, not
Substack.
happening. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for asking. Well, so yeah, no, not happening is my Substack, and it's actually I had written a book that came out in 2020 called Yeah, No, Not Happening, and it was about sort of an anti-self improvement. I actually started writing it in the United States, and the publisher bought it before we moved, but it was kind of
Oh,
just
wow.
about, "Yeah, no, not happening. I'm not doing all that stuff. I'm not getting up at 12 o'clock and having a green smoothie.
That's,
Just just not." And maybe I should, I might be on my deathbed going like, "Why didn't I do that?" But, at the moment, it's, "Yeah, no, not happening." Um, but really it's, "Yeah, no, not happening," the name of my Substack. I like to think it's a little cheeky. One of the things I love about the French is they complain a lot. I complain a lot. I like to think that it's entertaining. I hope it's entertaining. Um, and I really, I write about I write about living in France,
brought me
but
up.
it's interesting because
Oh, no.
oh, no. The longer I live here, the more it's just like, this is my home, and it's not like everywhere I look, it's like, "What?" Which is, the first 5 years, whatever, it was like, "What?" And everything was bizarre, and things are less weird now because now this is just, where I live. But yeah, my goal for my Substack is really just to be entertaining, to give people a laugh or 2, and maybe a nugget of information. It's
Yeah,
free, it will
no.
always be free because, it's I entertain myself as well. Um, so that's that, and then I do Come to Your Senses, which is, an all-inclusive writing retreat. It's a week long. We have guest authors from the United States. Last year we had, Anne Hood, Cheryl Strayed, who wrote Wild, was here. Dear Pam Houston's coming, um, who wrote one of my favorite books, Cowboys Are My Weakness, years ago. Um, and we have chefs who cook the most fabulous meals every single night.
Oh, wow. That sounds
Yeah,
that sounds amazing. When
yeah.
is your next one?
So, the next one is, April 19th through the 24th. And, you also get all your meals, and basically, I just want people to come to this place, this magical place, and really put themselves in the way of everything it has to offer like Matisse did. It changed his life.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, it's been going since 2017, so I guess we're in our 9th year. COVID year, of course,
amazing.
happened, but, yeah, so we do about 3 a year.
That's amazing.
Um,
Is it for people like writing books or what kind of any type of writing?
well, yeah, I mean, it's yes, it's for, well, probably poets. I have not I've published fiction and nonfiction, and I haven't published any poetry,
Yeah.
but really the whole point of it is that, in a place like Collioure, it's kind of like being in the physical world. It you walk out the door and you're in it. You walk out the
Mm,
door at the light and the sea and the mountains and the vineyards and the food, and you can smell the croissants baking at the bakery, and, um as wonderful as this technology is for this right here, we
yeah.
increasingly are living in a very two-dimensional world, and for writers, that's a little catastrophic because
Hmm.
the whole point of one of the points of writing is to bring the reader into that world that is
Yeah.
three-dimensional. Right? So it's really about whether you're writing memoir, whether you're writing a novel or short stories or essays, it's just to be able to come here and, become reacquainted with your senses and to really exercise that muscle for paying attention, being quiet, having a good meal. Not 5 hours. Our meals are not 5
No.
hours. I guess I
Oh
should clarify
man.
that. In fact, I always love it because it's like, "Hey, the Americans are here. We're gonna be out of here in an hour and a half."
Eat quick. Gotta go.
Um, but yeah, so it's limited. We limit it to 12, so, it's pretty, it's intimate, and the other thing
Yeah.
that's sort of great about it is that our guest authors come to the meals as well, so, like, you're really hanging out with some powerhouse writers as
That's
well,
amazing.
as all the other writers, so. And it's for
That's
beginners
amazing.
too. It's for beginners. We've had people that are very well published come here. We've had people that, they've got a story, they wanna tell a story, they wanna find another side of themselves.
Hmm.
Um, and the great thing about writing is that as the Buddhists say, you're always a beginner. You're always a
Hmm.
beginner. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
working on a novel now, it's like, "What?" Which is just like, "What am I doing here? Is it too late to become a dental hygienist? I don't know. Maybe not."
No, I think that's amazing. I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more because I'm working on. That's one of my goals this year is to work. I did a proposal last year, so it's like getting deeper into the whole writing process.
Well, I'll be here if you're interested, and if any of you guys are too who are listening.
Yes. I dropped the link to your Substack in the chat. So please connect and follow and subscribe to Karen's Substack. And yeah, no, not happening. I love the whole concept.
Not
Love it.
happening, it's not happening. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and sharing your journey with us. It was so good to learn about you, South of France, how you got there, what you do in there, and all of that. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
And
Um,
I think if you feel the urge, like, not if not now, when? Like, if not now,
yeah,
when? You should just go
exactly.
for it. Because guess what? The planes go both ways as of today. They do.
Exactly. What's
As
the
of
worst that can
today.
happen?
Don't hold me to it, but as of today, they go both ways. You can always go back. You can always go back.
Yeah, it's true. Always go back. There's always that option.
That's right.
Thank you both. And thank you everyone for joining. The replay will be posted. And yeah, we have a few scheduled, I think through March. So please stay tuned for our upcoming interviews.
Thank you so much,
Talk to you all
Cornelia.
later.
We will be in
Thank
touch.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Bye.